It's lights out and we are racing in the sprint here in Austrian Spielberg, and Pecco Bagnaia has got the drop on the field. He's in position A just as he wanted to be going into the first corner. Oh, he's a little bit hot though. Martin goes side by side as they sprint towards the chicane. Marquez was briefly up in the second, ahead of Martin on the climb to the first corner, but Bagnaia leads from second. The two top riders in the World Championship power down the hill into the hard braking zone for turn 4 on this first lap. Martin snakes the Prima Pramac Ducati sideways. He's holding on to the front here. Martin then sweeping on the inside of Bagnaia to lead at turn 3. Here comes Bagnaia on the inside. He goes. That's a good launch, a good raid on the inside of Martin. He's in a little bit hot though. That's 2 or 3 overtakes we've had for the lead already on this first lap. It's going to be back in the hands of Martin. What a first lap between Martin, Bagnaia and Marquez. It's Martin then that leads.
Bagnaia wanted to outbrake Martin into turn 1 but couldn't do it. Martin desperately trying to keep Bagnaia at bay. He wants that clear tarmac ahead of him.
They go side by side once again on the brakes into 2A, and Martin getting in a little bit hot. He's in way hot, and this will allow Bagnaia surely to sweep back into the lead. He has to lose a second in this sector. There's Martin, he slots in behind Bagnaia. Jorge Martin has got a long lap penalty, so he did not lose that 1 second in that sector. Well, this is a gift. This is playing right in hands of Pecco Bagnaia. Martin then has to come through the long lap penalty loop.
Martin will come through this time. He does indeed. I think he's got a big enough gap now to come through ahead of Aleix Espargaro. It's a tight, long lap, but he's got to, of course, make sure he doesn't exceed the limits in there. Otherwise, he will have to come through again, and he does slot in just ahead of Aleix Espargaro. So that extra lap, rather than coming to a long lap penalty first time of asking, he gave it 1 extra lap, and that just gave him that extra half a second, which he pulled out on Aleix Espargaro on that last lap to feed himself back in ahead of the Aprilia. Marquez is down. Marquez out of second place.
Marc Marquez has crashed at turn 3. Just as we were looking at the replay of the contact between Bastianini and Morbidelli, so there will not be a half dozen of second place in the sprints for Marc Marquez. Well, he's made key mistakes, hasn't he, so far this season, dropping the ball in the sprints. This could be, well, it's his 3rd crash now in the last 4 sprints. He dumped it in Assen, he dumped it last time out in Silverstone. He's remounted that Gresini Ducati GP23, but more important, World Championship points going begging for the 8 times world champion. Marc Marquez, it will be 3 DNFs in the last 4 sprints. He's frustrated with himself. Pecco Bagnaia is going to find himself back in familiar territory here. The number 1 on the factory Ducati will be back in P1 in the championship and back in P1 in a Tissot sprint. Just 1 corner left then for Pecco Bagnaia. He said he had to sort out this sprint Saturdays here on Thursday, and it has been job done from the world champion. Pecco Bagnaia steals the headlines once again in Spielberg. He takes the 14-lap Tissot sprint victory by nearly 5 seconds ahead of Jorge Martin, who rides through the pain barrier. An injury to his left thumb sees him second after his long lap penalty drama. We said pre-weekend 3 points covering Bagnaia and Martin. We're almost back to square one, aren't we, on the opening night in Qatar? Well, we are back to square one, because going into tomorrow's 28-lap Grand Prix of Austria, there is nothing to divide Pecco Bagnaia and Jorge Martin at the top of the championship.
250 points apiece between Bagnaia and Martin. It's the world champion who wins the Tissot Sprint in Austria and regains the world championship advantage.
If you can't get enough MotoGP, click here to subscribe.